Recently, a lot of people have been receiving an email claiming to be from the NHS regarding the COVID-19 vaccination programme. It informs the recipient that they're now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccination and gives them the option to confirm or decline the appointment. I personally haven't clicked on a link within the email or received the email itself. I'm going to hypothesise what would happen when you click on this email and the information that the attacker could harvest from its victim. Since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, cybercrime has increased 600%, with malicious actors posing as the UK National Health Service, the World Health Organisation, or the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, to extort money from their victims. Phishing tactics have played a major role in this. Phishing, not the leisurely sport or hobby phishing, but PH phishing, is the method which an attacker or a scammer uses to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and banking details from their victims. Most of the time, the attacker will email the victim claiming to be from a genuine platform such as Facebook, LinkedIn, PayPal, eBay, Twitter, to name a few. The email will contain a body of text which alerts the user as a matter of urgency to log into their account due to a security breach on the platform, for instance. This is what's called the phishing hook. Once the link within the email has been clicked, the victim will then be redirected to a web server which is being hosted by the attacker, which looks like an identical copy of a genuine platform such as Amazon.com. The victim will then proceed to input their information in the login form, which is then captured by the attacker and stored on their machine. This is what's called the catch. Phishing has been around for over 20 years, and it's claimed that 1 in 99 emails are a phishing attempt. Phishing is still the most popular method for the attacker to obtain sensitive information from the victim. It's also the most popular method for the victim to download a remote code execution Trojan and allow remote access for the attacker to that machine. Let's jump straight in. The first of the two attacks I'm going to perform is a Facebook credential theft attack. I've created a Facebook phishing email, and I've also created a Facebook web page which will capture the information input from the victim. The second email is a claim to be from the NHS regarding the COVID-19 vaccination, which will then ask the user to access a website to input all the information to book their appointment. Facebook phishing email will need to contain a link that, when clicked, will direct the victim to my local web server on my Kali Linux machine, which is hosting a fake version of the Facebook login page. First thing I need to do is generate a spoof email to send to the victim. I use an online platform to generate an email template, which will hopefully encourage the user to update their Facebook security settings. I then copied the HTML code into a text file for me to use later on. If I can make the email come across urgent and that time is of the essence to keep their accounts safe, but at the same time keep it genuine looking, the less chance they have of clocking that this is a phishing email. Notice that there is a link within this message, which according to this email will direct me to Facebook's webpage, allow me to log in. This is kind of true. However, the login page will be hosted on my local web server. Now I have the email template, I just need my victim or victims. There are many ways to legally and illegally gather information on someone, such as their email addresses, their home and business addresses, or their telephone numbers. If someone has put their personal information on a public domain, such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Reddit, it can be found by an attacker and be used potentially in a phishing attack. Personal information can be found using OSINT. OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence, is a multi-method methodology for collecting, analysing and making decisions about data accessible in public available sources to be used in an intelligence context. In the intelligence community, the term open refers to overt, publicly available sources. The OSINT framework acts as a search engine and puts all OSINT tools in one interface and crawls the internet looking for information which is publicly available. Publicly available information, such as someone posting their home address on a public Facebook group looking for recommendations, a phone number being shared on LinkedIn, or an email address shared on Twitter, can be found using OSINT. This is why you should never share your personal information on any public domains or social media platforms. An attacker finding information readily available on the internet is not illegal, so don't give them the opportunity to exploit your details by posting personal information online. The illegal method of gaining someone's information is purchasing exploited information on dark web marketplaces. Usually, if a web server has been exploited by an attacker, They'll sell all the credentials and information they've found on the dark web marketplaces for a fee. Attacks such as the MyFitnessPal breach back in February 2018 exposed 150 million usernames, emails, and hashed passwords, which were then sold on the now defunct dark web marketplace, Free Market. The tool to see if your email address has been victim to a breach is haveibeenpwned.com. Simply typing in your email address will display if your email has been compromised. If your email has been pwned, it's best to start changing the passwords to them accounts. As not to raise too much suspicion from an online genuine email service provider such as Gmail, Hotmail or Yahoo, I've created my own offline email server on my local area network. The email I've created for Ryan is ryan@notgmail.com. The email I've created for myself is support@fakebook.help. The email domain can be anything the attacker wishes, apart from the genuine services such as @facebook.com, @twitter.com. However, they can easily purchase a domain that may not raise too much suspicion, such as @facebooksupport.com or @facebook-help.com. Services such as GoDaddy or Crazy Domains can show what domains are available at what costs. So now I've got my victim for this attack. My friend Ryan has volunteered to play the victim for me. So I'm going to send Ryan some phishing emails, which when he clicks the links can take him to my web server, which is hosting a web page. So when he inputs information, I can capture the credentials. So how you doing, Ryan? All right, mate?
Yeah, really good, Sam. Thanks for inviting me to do this.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Not a problem. You keeping well? Work all good?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Been a nice, productive day today, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be so chilled out now.
Yeah.
Doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
we'll find out in a minute. We'll find out in a minute. So what's your kind of experience with computers? Are you like quite expert with them, or do people come to you when they have problems, or are you like a novice, or do you completely dislike computers altogether?
Yeah, people that know me would know I'm certainly not an expert with computers, but I can certainly get by. I wouldn't say I'm a novice. I can figure things out. I have to use computers on a daily basis. I'd say I'm pretty average, really.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to start with is sending you a phishing email. So it's going to be a fake book. I've called it fake book rather than Facebook. It's going to be it's going to be a fake book email. So it's going to appear to be a legitimate email coming from Facebook to update your security settings because there's been a breach on their platform. So I'm just going to copy and paste the HTML code that I've made previously for the email to my email client. I'll just do the email, ryan@notgmail.com. I'll call it fakebook attack. Please update. So it looks a bit desperate, this subject header. It might be a bit less obvious for a legitimate phishing attempt as well. So just put in the HTML code. I'll go ahead and send that to you. Message sent successfully. So if you now go, Ryan, to your email client and get messages. Yeah, and then get messages up here. You see you've had an email from Fakebook Support. So if you double click on that email,
yeah,
it's going to open up a web page or the email itself, the body. So if you want to have a look through the email, have a read of it as well, and see what you think of it.
Cool. So it says, "Dear Facebook user, we are investigating an incident which is thought to have compromised our public profile database server and has allowed attackers to interact with our user profiles without being logged in. This has resulted in many profiles having historic and/or memorable posts and pictures permanently deleted. It is highly recommended that our users log in as soon as possible and set their profile security to high. This will stop attackers accessing profiles until we establish a permanent fix on the issue. While we ascertain a fix, our users may be unable to access Facebook content. We thank you for your patience in this matter. Please use the Facebook app or log in here and direct yourself to security settings and set your profile privacy accordingly."
Excellent. So what do you think of that email?
Do you know, that's quite convincing, I reckon. Don't get me wrong, I've had messages come through in the past and I've gone, oh, I'm not going to trust this. And a lot of the time, I'm quite savvy in that sense, not to put my details down unless I really know what it is. But I can imagine a lot of people would fall for this.
But Ryan, if you now go ahead and proceed to click on the here hyperlink or the login hyperlink and see what happens there. So we can see here that Ryan's accessed what looks like a Facebook login page, but obviously this is my Fakebook login page. So again, Ryan, if you want to go ahead and input your email and password. So the trick to the phishing emails is to make them look genuine and urgent and not too desperate. This will hopefully, you know, trick people into wanting to click on the link because they're thinking that their profile is at risk of being compromised.
Certainly looks like that.
So if Ryan goes ahead and log in, so I can see I've captured that. So the email you've used is ryan@notgmail.com and the password of ryanstanton30 is your password there. Excellent. So just going to ask, Ryan, have you ever received a phishing email attempt like this, like a Facebook one or a Dropbox or PayPal before?
I'll be honest, I have. Can't really remember exactly what it was. But I think there was some kind of Facebook link that came up once to which my instinct was don't trust it. So I didn't follow it up. But I can imagine lots of people would just look at that and go, that's sincere. You know, it looks like a normal Facebook account. I've had it before as well, where you on Facebook, I think there was a popular thing that was going around where it said, see who's been, you know, visiting your profile page. And I did, and naturally a lot of people would think, oh, that's intriguing. Who's been checking out my profile? And I did think about it once. I clicked on the link and then the same thing came up, put in your username and password. But yeah, because I've heard things about this before, I didn't do it. So me personally, I've been able to sort of stop at this point, but I'm sure loads of people wouldn't.
Yeah, especially if there's a risk as well. So your profile's at risk, all your personal photos going back years and years and years are at a risk of being compromised. So a lot of people will just rush to do it. I personally have been a victim of phishing before, back in the days of MySpace, when you've had an email saying, you know, there's attackers who are compromising your web page. You just jump straight on. This is before I knew anything about sort of cybersecurity and things like that. What an attacker could also do here is obviously in the URL bar is a local IP address. So it says 192.168.1.7. An attacker could purchase a domain such as facebooksupport.com, fakebooksupport.com, or whatever you want, and they can make it look more legitimate in that way, give it a secure web page with the little padlock as well. So they can make it look very, very legitimate. Also, they could forward the login page to the real Facebook. So it looks like you just had a failed attempt to log in, like you've typed your password in wrong. They've captured it, and then they can forward you to the legitimate Facebook page, and then you log in, and you could be none the wiser. So obviously from here, you type in your password many, many, many times. It's not going to take you anywhere, but then you'll soon click, but you can be forwarded.
It's amazing how quick you can access the information. Just literally by click log in, and you see it there and then.
Big scam going on at the moment is the COVID-19 phishing emails. The victim will receive an email from the attacker claiming to be from the NHS, saying that they're eligible for their COVID-19 vaccination and that they need to pay money to reserve their spot. The government and the NHS have all confirmed that they will never charge for the vaccinations, and your doctor will contact you with a posted letter asking you to attend the doctor's surgery in person. I've made my own phishing email based on the existing emails going around. I just made a very basic HTML document for the email and the web page. This works in the same way as the Facebook phish. I send an email to the victim in the hope that they click the link within the email, which will redirect them to my web server. The method I'm using for capturing the form input is probably, if not unlikely, how the scammers do it, but I just want to show you the information they will see. They'll most likely store the submitted information on a web server, which is anywhere in the world. For this demonstration, I'll be using a tool called Beef. Beef is the browser exploitation framework, and it's a very powerful tool. Once Ryan lands on my web page, I have a JavaScript hook ready to hook his browser, which will display in my Linux machine. From here, I can read the logs to see what information is input on my web form. I can also send him fake notifications such as a Facebook login or an Adobe update. So Ryan, you ready, mate?
Let's do it, man.
Excellent. So I'm going to start off with how the majority of phishing attacks start. So I'm going to send you an email. So I've made another HTML code, which I'm going to put into the email. this is very, very basic. So the ones that I've seen that people are receiving, they just look really basic. So it's exactly what I've done as well. It does look pretty scary when you read it, but I have no affiliation with any of these phishing scams that are going on at all.
Yeah.
So just go to my machine. So the email is going to be from services@nhs-covid.uk. I do ryan@notgmail.com. Call it NHS vaccine booking. And I'll insert HTML code. That's what it looks like there. So now I'm going to send this over to Ryan. So Ryan, if you now go to get messages. Okay. So if we double click on that, and you can see the email there that's come up. So if you want to have a read of that, read it out if you like, see what you think of it.
Dear Sir, stroke Madam, we are getting closer to fully managing this pandemic with our mass vaccination drive for the UK and worldwide population against the COVID-19 virus and its variants. We are happy to now inform you that your age bracket is eligible for the vaccine dose. In order for us to book your appointment, please accept this invitation by selecting Accept Appointment below. Should you accept this invitation, you will be directed to our secure web portal booking form. Once you have completed the booking form, you will be forwarded to the online calendar booking system where you'll be able to select the date and location of your vaccination. Declining this invitation will be feedback to our mailing system, which will automatically note your email address as do not contact. However, should you wish to book your appointment for a later time in the year, please contact us on the number below nearer to the time of your choice. Did you write this?
I did, yeah. I did. So if you, I know. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. So I'm a bit scared now that people are going to start thinking that I created these phishing emails because it's quite legitimate looking. So as I say, I've got no affiliation with it whatsoever. So if you scroll down a little bit then, Ryan, and you can see you have 2 options there of accept and decline. And if you scroll right down to the bottom, I've put a little bit at the end. So I've put a bit of gov.uk picture, WHO, and then to make it obvious that this is an attacking email, I've put a picture of Anonymous on there as well. So, or the Guy Fawkes mask. So if you click on the decline appointment there, we'll see what happens. Open up a web page and it'll just say, thank you for your feedback, basically. So, you know, it's gone back to their mail server and they think that, you know, they've just received the feedback. So if we close that window completely, then pressing the X in the top right. So right, if you now go ahead and accept the appointment, open up your browser, display a web form. So again, I know this says an internal IP address 192.168.1.4, not secure, but an attacker could purchase a domain, you know, nhsvaccinations.com or whatever's available on these domain websites. So if you want to go ahead and fill in that form then, what will happen now is when you press submit, it's going to forward you to a booking system. It's just a generic one I found online. It's nothing to do with COVID or NHS. It's just literally a web page. And again, an attacker could develop a online booking system that looks legitimate. Person could book all their, you know, their appointment and stuff and think they've done it, and then that's it. So if you now go ahead and press submit, and then gives you and then press OK again. So I can see I've captured your form here, but you can see it's now forwarded you to just a generic booking calendar, if you like. It's just the only one that I've just found online. But again, it could look legitimate enough to fool someone really. But more importantly, on my end, I've captured all the information you've put in. So I can see that the first name is Ryan, last name Stanton, house number 30, first line address Stanton Avenue, postcode SS13123, name of GP, Stanton Surgery, preferred contact number, and the number you put in as well. And then please create a password. This is probably the important one because a lot of people use the same passwords for a lot of platforms and the same email. So an attacker from this could straight away try and log into other accounts, Netflix, Amazon, maybe even try banking.
Internet banking,
Internet banking. Although internet banking, a lot of it does use two-factor authentication now, which is really, really good. But you could also maybe phone up and socially engineer the person on the helpline, and because you've got all the information you need, basically. So, see, the password you put here was Ryan Stanton 30, capital R, capital S. And then, of course, like I said, you've got all your card details. So your long banking number, the account number, sort code, reverse number on the card, the name of the bank. So everything that you've basically got in your wallet is on my screen now. So an attacker could now, you're disconnected from the session. So he could be long gone, logging into services and stuff. So that's how the phishing attacks work. As I say, it's probably not the exact same way an attacker will do it, but it's just to show you what they will see once you've input your information on their web forms. So, right, what did you think of that then, mate?
Yeah, it's certainly an eye-opener, mate. It's crazy to think how simple it is just to hand over your details and how quickly you can access it and how realistic you've made it look. Just yourself, So you think there's people out there that are professional hackers, so it's you just got to be very, very cautious. Absolutely. What would you say though, Sam, for people that do get emails like this? Obviously, some of them are going to be legitimate. How would you kind of ascertain what's right or wrong?
So if you do receive an email from a social platform, a medical service, or a bank, don't click on the link within the email. Go to Google, type in the service you require, and log in that way. If you do click on a link within the email, ensure that it's taking you to the FQDN or the fully qualified domain name such as www.facebook.com, www.twitter.com, and ensure that it's using an encrypted web page by checking for the padlock in the top left corner. If none of these conditions are met, leave the web page immediately and inform the service desk of that platform that you've been victim of a phishing attempt. Use different passwords for different services and keep them in a password database, preferably offline. If you do have your passwords written down, make sure they're locked away and not accessible to anyone but you. Finally, if you can, enable multi-factor authentication. If you have ever tried to log into iTunes from a new laptop, for instance, and it sends your phone a push notification alerting you of an attempted login and provides you with a code to put into iTunes, this is multi-factor authentication. It's pretty standard on lots of platforms now, especially with social media and email. Enabling multi-factor authentication will deter most attackers as they physically need a device to receive the notification or email containing the code to be able to access the service they require. Following these simple steps and even doing further research on the internet on how to stay safe online will hopefully educate you on noticing when you may receive a phishing email and hopefully keep all your information as safe as it can possibly be. Well, I really appreciate you helping me out here, Rye, as well.
No, you're welcome.
Taking the time up on your evening. So I'm glad I could show this to you as a a standard computer user, and hopefully that people who do watch this can kind of get a bit of an education on what the attacker will see and why you shouldn't just click on links within emails and things like that. So I do appreciate you helping me out there, mate. Thank you.
Anytime.
Awesome. Take care. See you later.